There's a community living inside the borders of the United States where the average 60-year-old has the bone density, the metabolic markers, and the inflammation profile of a 30-year-old. And researchers at Ohio State University have spent more than 20 years trying to figure out exactly why. By the end of this video, I will show you the 5 specific American foods these people refuse to eat, the cellular mechanism that keeps their bodies biologically younger for decades, and the 7-day protocol I put together inside the Mitochondria Reset, available this week for $27. But first, the science nobody at the supermarket wants you to see. The Amish of Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, and Holmes County, Ohio, live in the same country as you and me. They drink water from the same aquifers, breathe the same air, and are exposed to the same viruses every flu season. And yet, a 2008 study published from Ohio State University documented that their overall cancer rate sits at approximately 60% of the United States average, with tobacco-related cancers nearly absent. A 2017 paper from Northwestern University identified a genetic factor in one Amish community linked to roughly 10 extra years of life expectancy compared to the general American population. But here is the part that should make every American over 50 stop scrolling right now. The same researchers concluded that genetics alone explains only a fraction of the difference. The rest is diet, daily movement, and what they refuse to put in their mouths. By the way, Robert from Dallas, 57 years old, watched a documentary about the Amish 3 years ago. He realized he had been eating every single food they refused to eat, and his doctor had just told him his liver enzymes looked like a man 15 years older. By day 60 of the protocol I am about to walk you through, his inflammation markers dropped 50%. His doctor asked him what he had changed. He had not added a single supplement or medication. He found everything in the first link in the description. Anyway, number 5 on the list of foods the Amish refuse to keep in their kitchens is industrial seed oil. That category includes soybean oil, corn oil, canola oil, sunflower oil, safflower oil, and anything labeled simply as vegetable oil on the back of the bottle. A 2020 paper in the journal Circulation tracked over 200,000 adults for 30 years and reported that high consumption of industrial seed oils was associated with roughly a 30% increase in cardiovascular mortality compared to traditional animal fats. The mechanism is straightforward. These oils are extracted with industrial solvents, heated at temperatures that oxidize the polyunsaturated fats, then deodorized with bleaching agents to mask the rancid smell. When you eat them, the oxidized fatty acids embed themselves directly into your cell membranes, including the membranes around your mitochondria, the energy factories that determine how old you actually feel. The Amish cook with butter from their own grass-fed cows. They render lard from pasture-raised pigs, beef tallow for frying, all saturated fats their grandparents trusted for generations. A 2010 meta-analysis published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition reviewed 21 studies covering 347,000 people and found no significant link between saturated fat intake and heart disease. The villain was never the butter. Which brings us to number 4. Number 4 is ultra-processed food, anything that comes in a box with more than 5 ingredients, most of which you cannot pronounce without practicing. A 2019 study at the United States National Institutes of Health placed 20 adults in a metabolic ward, fed half of them an ultra-processed diet and half of them whole foods at identical calorie counts. The ultra-processed group consumed 500 more calories per day automatically and gained 2 pounds in just 2 weeks. Before I show you number 3, I need to stop for 4 minutes and tell you what happened to Robert when he tried to fix this himself. Because if you recognize yourself in his story, the rest of this video changes, and if you do not, you can skip the next 4 minutes. The link is already in the description. But I think you will recognize yourself. Watch this. Robert is 57, lives in a suburb of Dallas, and spent 30 years working in oil and gas logistics. He told me he ate clean. He thought he ate clean. Salads at lunch, lean chicken at dinner, almond milk in his coffee. He had cut out soda 15 years earlier. He honestly believed he was doing everything right. But after his 50th birthday, his belly grew 3 pant sizes. He fell asleep watching television at 8 every night. By 2 in the afternoon, his head felt like it was wrapped in cotton. His annual physical came back with elevated triglycerides, fatty liver markers, and what his doctor casually called prediabetes. The doctor wrote him a prescription for statins and metformin and told him to come back in 6 months. Robert did not fill the prescription. He went home, watched a documentary about the Amish that night, and stayed up until 2 in the morning reading research papers from Ohio State and the National Institutes of Health. Then he tried to do it himself. He cut out the seed oils. He drove 30 miles to a small farm to buy raw milk. He bought stone ground flour and made his own sourdough. 3 months in, almost nothing had changed. Here is why. And this is the reframe that changed everything for Robert and for the 12,847 members now inside the Mitochondria Reset. It is not a diet. It is not a single food swap. It is a sequence. What you eat in the morning, in what specific order, the exact fasting window before your first bite, what you stop eating after 6 in the evening, and the cellular ritual that activates autophagy overnight. That is the protocol. Most people try one piece in isolation. They cut out seed oils but still eat at the wrong times. They eat the right foods in the wrong sequence. Their mitochondria stay damaged because the activation window never opens. The mitochondria reset is the exact sequence, day by day, hour by hour, structured for the typical adult over 50. Here is what you get when you join this week. The Mitochondria Reset Ebook. 7 chapters. 134 cited studies from Mount Sinai, Karolinska Institute, and Stanford. The complete 21-day protocol with Amish inspired food choices structured around the cellular timing window. Standalone value, $47, plus 6 bonuses. The coffee variations chart with every fat substitute tested, the 6 Other Mitochondria Foods with senior dosing, the 21-day Visceral Fat Tracker, printable day by day, the Talk to Your Doctor. Script for when they push medication you would rather avoid. Lifetime updates with every new study, automatic forever. And for the next 48 hours only, the personal mitochondria email, where you write in once with your most important question and receive a real answer from a certified specialist. Total stack value, $241. What you pay today, $27. One time, lifetime access. And if in the first 90 days the protocol does not change what you wanted it to change, you write one email with one word. Refund. You get every cent back. No questions, no justification. And you keep every single bonus, even after the refund clears. You are carrying no risk on this. We are. The first link in the description goes straight to checkout. The personal email bonus closes 48 hours after this video. If you are going, go now. Okay, back to the video. Because food number 3 is the one that surprised Robert the most when he finally understood it, and there's a strong chance you are eating it today thinking it is the healthy choice. Food number 3 that the Amish refuse to consume is anything sweetened with high fructose corn syrup or refined white sugar. Their sweeteners are raw honey from their own hives, sorghum molasses pressed by hand, and maple syrup boiled down in the woods every February. Why this matters at the cellular level. Fructose, when consumed in concentrated industrial form rather than inside whole fruit, is metabolized almost exclusively in the liver. A 2015 study in the journal Hepatology found that high fructose corn syrup consumption was the single strongest dietary predictor of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a condition now affecting roughly 1 in 3 American adults over 50. The fructose that does not become liver fat triggers a process called glycation, where sugar molecules permanently bind to the proteins in your skin, your joints, and your blood vessels. The visible result is wrinkles, stiffness, and arterial plaque. Visible aging on the outside reflects invisible aging within. The average American consumes around 60 pounds of added sugar per year. The average Amish adult consumes less than 15. That is 45 pounds of accelerated cellular aging. Your body is forced to process every single year, and you cannot see the damage until it has already become permanent. Food number 3 has a quiet cousin that is even more aggressive than the syrup itself, and almost nobody talks about it. Read the label of any commercial salad dressing, any low-fat yogurt, any whole wheat bread sold in a plastic bag at your local grocery store. You will find sugar listed under at least 10 different names: maltodextrin, dextrose, cane juice, fruit juice concentrate, brown rice syrup. The names rotate so the ingredient list looks varied, but it is all the same fast glycation fuel under different masks. A 2021 paper from Mount Sinai estimated that the average American over 50 consumes hidden added sugar in roughly 74% of all packaged foods they buy each week. The Amish solution is brutal in its simplicity. If the food has a label, it is treated as suspicious. If the label lists more than 3 ingredients, it is rejected. That one rule eliminates roughly 80% of what fills the typical American grocery cart, and roughly 80% of the cellular damage that ages you faster than your years. Now we are getting closer to the worst offenders. The next food I'm about to show you is something almost every American over 50 consumes every single morning, believing it is healthy, while it quietly degrades their hormonal balance and their gut lining year after year. Quick reminder before we continue. If the story of Robert hits something for you, and you still have not grabbed the protocol, the personal mitochondria email bonus closes in less than 48 hours. After that, you can still join, but the email piece goes away. First link in the description. Back to the video. Food number 2 that the Amish refuse to consume is conventional commercial milk. I'm not talking about all dairy. The Amish drink more milk per capita than almost any community in America. The difference is what kind of milk. The milk filling the refrigerator section of your supermarket has been pasteurized at high temperatures that denature the proteins. then homogenized under pressure that fractures the fat globules into tiny particles your body never evolved to process. A 2012 study from the University of Maryland examined the protein structures of pasteurized versus raw whole milk and found that pasteurization destroys most of the natural enzymes that allow your gut to digest dairy properly. That is why so many adults over 50 suddenly develop lactose intolerance later in life. Their digestive system had been relying on enzymes that no longer arrive intact in the carton. The Amish drink fresh whole milk from cows that eat grass, not soy meal and corn pellets. The milk travels from the cow into a chilled steel container into a clay jug on their breakfast table, sometimes within the same hour. No pasteurization, no homogenization, no ultra-high temperature processing. The documented result, across multiple studies on Amish children, is virtually zero allergies, almost no asthma, no childhood eczema. The same protective effect appears in Amish adults: lower rates of autoimmune disease, lower systemic inflammation, stronger bones into their 70s and 80s. Now, I am not suggesting you go drink raw milk from an unknown source. In many states, it is illegal for legitimate safety reasons. What I am suggesting is that the milk you are buying right now, the milk you pour for your grandchildren, is a processed industrial product that bears almost no resemblance to what humans drank for 10,000 years. The protocol inside the Mitochondria Reset solves this with 3 specific dairy alternatives that mimic the digestive benefits of raw milk while being legally and safely available everywhere in the United States today. The Amish never had to think about any of this. We do. And now we arrive at number 1. The single food the Amish refuse most absolutely, the food, I believe, is responsible for more accelerated aging in Americans over 50 than any other on this list. Number 1 is commercial wheat bread, specifically the soft white loaf, the supermarket whole wheat that is mostly white flour dyed brown, the bagels, the pasta, the breakfast cereal. Everything made from modern industrial wheat. Research at Washington State University, comparing wheat varieties grown in the 1950s to those grown today, has documented dozens of new gluten proteins in modern wheat that did not exist in the wheat your grandparents ate. On top of that, a significant share of the American wheat crop is sprayed with glyphosate just before harvest as a desiccant to speed drying. A 2021 paper from researchers at MIT suggested that glyphosate residue may disrupt the gut microbiome and deplete glycine, a building block your body needs for collagen, skin elasticity, and joint repair. The Amish eat bread daily. They eat a lot of it, but their bread comes from heritage. Wheat varieties grown without industrial chemicals, ground on stone mills the same day it is baked, and fermented for 24 hours as sourdough so the gluten is partially predigested by wild yeast before it ever touches their plate. That bread does not behave inside your body the way the commercial loaf does. The fermentation reduces glycemic impact. The heritage proteins are recognized by your gut, and the fresh stone grinding preserves the nutrients that industrial milling destroys within minutes of grinding. This is why the same Amish farmer who eats bread 3 times a day has a flatter belly at age 60 than the average American office worker at age 40. One last thing before we wrap. Going to a longevity clinic in the United States and getting tested for the same 8 markers we covered today, visceral fat, inflammation, fasting insulin, liver enzymes, hormone panel, sleep quality, mitochondrial function, biological age, would cost you somewhere between $1,500 and $4,000 depending on the city. I checked 3 of them last month. The Mitochondria Reset gives you the protocol that improves all 8 at the same time, structured for the typical adult over 50 for $27. Original price was $97. 90 days money back. You keep all the bonuses. The personal email bonus closes at the timer in the first link. If you're going, today is the day. Continuing. Here's the daily framework the Amish live by, simplified for the modern American adult who cannot move to Lancaster County tomorrow morning. Start with full-fat dairy if you tolerate it. Real butter on real sourdough is a meal that has fed humans for 3,000 years. Add eggs from pasture-raised hens, never the cheap ones from caged operations. Mid-morning, no snacks. The Amish eat 3 meals. The window between breakfast and lunch is where cellular cleanup happens, and snacking shuts it down completely within minutes. Lunch, the heaviest meal of the day. Real meat from a known source, root vegetables, fermented condiments, sauerkraut, pickles, kefir. The fermentation step is what most modern people skip, and it is the single most important addition. Afternoon. Plain water, herbal teas, no sweetened anything. The Amish do not drink soda, juice, or sweetened coffee drinks, ever. Dinner. Lighter than lunch. Eaten before sundown whenever possible. A 2020 study from the Salk Institute reported that eating the last meal before sunset improved overnight cellular repair markers by approximately 40% compared to late evening dinners. Evening. No food after dinner. The fasting window between dinner and breakfast the next morning is when your mitochondria repair, your liver detoxifies, and your skin regenerates itself. That is roughly 70% of what the protocol contains. The remaining 30%, the exact sequence, the morning ritual, and the precise foods that activate the cellular renewal window, sits inside the ebook. Members report that within 7 days they sleep deeper and wake easier. Within 21 days, the pants feel looser. Within 60 days, their lab markers reflect the change. Individual results may vary, but the pattern repeats across 12,847 readers worldwide. That is what Robert experienced. That is what the studies suggest is the typical pattern for adults over 50 who follow the sequence the way it was designed. It is what your grandparents would have called normal. Before everything in the supermarket was engineered to age you on a schedule. Before you close this video, one last thing. In the next 2 minutes, 2 things can happen. 1, you click the link, you pay $27. Tonight you read the first chapter in bed. Tomorrow morning you start. Day 3, you wake up easier. Day 7, you sleep through the night. Day 21, your pants fit looser. Day 90, you forget what tired felt like, the way Robert forgot, the way the Amish never had to remember in the first place. Or 2, you close the video. Tomorrow morning you wake up just as tired as today. In 3 weeks you do not remember this video. In a year nothing is different. And the supermarket continues to win. Both paths are real. Both end in a reality. The first link. The personal email bonus closes 48 hours from now. Last thing. This knowledge does not belong to the industry that profits from making you sick. It belongs to you, and it belongs to the grandparents who lived to 90 on butter, sourdough, and fresh milk, long before someone decided you needed a label with 20 ingredients to feel modern. Subscribe to this channel so no one forgets it.